here. Not a ton going on free agency wise, as the team largely is looking to bolster its interior offensive line. But before any of that, on the 8th, the team began voluntary offseason programs this past week. As a team with a new head coach, Seattle gets a head start on that offseason program, usually beginning in mid-April, but Seattle gets to do so in this early April. At least that were visible. There were some key players for the Seahawks that were taking part in these. No, it's voluntary. It's not something that they're necessarily required to be at, but it's important to see some of your leaders take part in something like this. So, linebacker Uchenna Nwosu, who is per him is ready to go, should be ready to go by training camp, was visible. Quarterback Geno Smith, wide receiver DK Metcalf, and defensive lineman Leonard Williams were amongst those shown in pictures posted by the team. So again, important to see some of your leaders there, maybe setting the tone or just being around the building so that others can follow suit. And as you try to get back to the playoffs and hopefully make a deep playoff run when the 2024 season eventually begins. The same day on the 8th, the team signed a bunch of players to their exclusive rights contracts, including cornerback Michael Jackson, linebacker John Radigan, both signing their restricted free agent contracts, defensive end Miles Adams, guard McClendon Curtis. Curtis had previously been listed as an offensive tackle last September and throughout the rest of the year, but they've talked about him playing as a guard. He did play as a guard in college, where he made 31 starts. But with all of the sort of, as Seattle has looked to to bolster up that interior offensive line, we're seeing that continue here with an in-house addition. Tackle Raekwon O'Neal, so offensive tackle Raekwon O'Neal, linebacker Joshua Onajogu, and tight end Brady Russell all signed their exclusive rights contracts on the 8th. Additionally to that, defensive end Latrell Bumpus was released. On the 9th, the team signed offensive tackle Max Percher. Percher has not played yet in a regular season game. He spent last year on Detroit's practice squad. He is a 24-year-old, so Seattle potentially feeling like they see something with that offensive lineman there. Maybe, just hasn't gotten the opportunity as of yet, largely kicking the tires as well. On the same day, running back Bryant Koback was placed on the reserve/retired list. The same day on the 9th, the Seahawks announced that a bunch of new players all of these new players, had gotten their numbers for this year. Linebacker Terrell Dodson will wear number 0. Safety Rayshawn Jenkins will wear number 2. Quarterback Sam Howell will wear number 6. Linebacker Jerome Baker will wear number 17. Safety Kevon Wallace will wear number 24. Also, a bunch of offensive linemen right here. Nick Harris will wear number 56. Offensive lineman Max Percher will wear number 69. Tremaine Ankrum Jr. will wear number 73. 30 would not work for him. And then George Fant gets his old number back in number 74. Wide receiver Laviska Shenault Jr. wears number 81. Tight end Pharaoh Brown will wear number 86. And defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins will wear number 97. Continuing on here, on the 10th, the team brought in former Utah State quarterback Chucky Keaton. He's listed on the team's website as an offensive assistant. Now, we'll look at Keaton here in case you need his full name. His full name is Charles Adam Keaton IV. He's now a coach with the Seahawks and a former quarterback. He played college football at Utah State, school of Bobby Wagner. We'll look at his college career here. As a true freshman back in 2011, he started 8 of 9 games, completing 106 of 174 passes for 1,200 yards with 11 touchdowns and 2 picks. In 2012, he started all 13 games, completing 275 of his 407 passes for 3,373 yards with 27 TDs and 9 picks. He was a first-team all-WAC selection. And then from 2013 to 2015, his career was really plagued by injuries. He only played 6 games in 2013 and 3 in 2014 and then 7 in 2015. After the 2015 season, he started his coaching career. In 2016, he joined Oregon State as a graduate assistant. In 2018, he joined Utah State as a grad assistant, and a lot of grad assistants. 2019, joined Texas Tech as a grad assistant. Then he went back to Utah State in 2021 as a running backs coach. In 2023, he was hired as an offensive analyst for Marshall. And then in 2024, most recently, he was hired as the quarterbacks coach for Montana State. Instead, he comes over to the Seahawks to help as an offensive assistant. Will be interesting to see. Again, we talked about it, feels like months ago now, looking at the Mike McDonald staff being built up from the ground. It'll be very interesting to see. There seems like a lot of good minds, good coaching minds up and down, some underrated minds as well. It'll be very interesting to see how they all get put together, how they work together, and how many of them end up leaving if things do go well. So, last piece of Seahawks news: on the 12th, the team signed offensive guard Tomlinson, gosh, a hiccup, to a 1-year deal up to $4 million per source. So as I talked about, Seattle, I think we talked about Tomlinson potentially being an option last week, and they do officially sign him on the 12th. The 32-year-old Thompson was released by the Jets back in February. He gives the Seahawks an experienced and durable starter to help fill one of their biggest remaining holes in that interior offensive line, an area that they've admittedly wanted to improve upon in the last few years and for a while recently. He was a first-round pick by the Lions back in 2015, making 138 starts for 3 teams over the last 9 seasons, and has only missed 1 game, knock on wood, in his career. He did make a Pro Bowl with the 49ers back in 2021 and is almost exclusively played at the left guard position. With Damian Lewis leaving for the Panthers, Phil Haynes remaining unsigned and highly unlikely he gets brought back. You'd imagine he would have come back already if that was the case. The Seahawks were really kind of low on the guard position. Anthony Bradford was there. He played a good amount of time this past year. They brought in Tremayne Akram Jr., who signed to the 1-year minimum salary. And there's no secret, that Seattle has been looking at the offensive guard position. So they get Tomlinson here. Tomlinson finished 34th amongst all guards in the league in pass block win rate in 2023, 27th in pass block win rate as a guard over the past 3 seasons. He's only missed 9 offensive snaps over the past 5 years. So it'll be interesting to see if Seattle's going to be able to get the most out of him, if he's going to be a consistent starter there as he's been in his time in the league. But with this move, it's going to be very interesting to see. I think Seattle is almost done doing things, especially considering that you've got the draft coming up. On Friday, the Seahawks were listed as the 3rd lowest team in terms of amount of cap space that they've got at just $1.7 million. It's not clear whether they'll have to free up more of that money to fit that contract, but they're going to have to do so for sure in terms of freeing up cap space when they get those draft picks when the NFL draft comes up. So with that, we move over to the Mariners segment of